title came out as to why do we worry? Why do we worry? And this has a little reflection on my grandchildren this week, so they're my inspiration for it. Watching small children play at a park is a great example. If they're not family, we're just watching, we enjoy watching. If you look around, you'll see that the family of the children and that the children are being carefully watched by the family. So when you go to a park, you can just sit and enjoy the children playing and doing what they do. And then if you really observe, you'll also see the families that are there on the outside watching carefully. If a child is young and at age 2 or 3, usually a parent is following close behind to make sure that no harm happens. Being a grandma myself, I know this scenario too well. And even though it brings joy to see children learning, the worries and caution is active the entire time. At a very young age, children learn and hear, be careful, slow down, or stay close. My grandson at a young age would explore, but he also had a natural sense to stay close and come back towards the parents. He showed a bit of caution. He seemed to come into this life with a little bit of wisdom. My granddaughter, on the other hand, has no fear. And her mother said she'd run straight off the cliff if she thought it'd be fun. Worry seems to be a part of the human experience. However, I do believe it is passed down from generation to generation, and it may even possibly be something we learned. Having a concern is an awareness of a possible outcome. We could just leave it at that. Worry is a continual thought about a situation that has not happened, whether it's past or present. And it's often accompanied by a misuse of our power of imagination. We've all heard someone saying or being described as having an overactive imagination. Anybody in here feel like they have an overactive imagination? I do. And I really have to work at turning it down. If you've ever been in a group meeting with me, all kinds of creative ideas come out. So let's take a look at that power of imagination. I have a quote, and I'm not even sure where I got this quote from. I just quoted it. Oh, this might be, this is Myrtle Fillmore. In the quietness and confidence of spirit, I see myself as God sees me, a perfect image and likeness. So hang on to that idea of how God sees me. I don't think we think about that very often. If we know the divine spirit or God as good and only good, then can we truly say and believe all things work towards a greater good? It's actually one of my favorite things to contemplate. All things work together for a greater good. And if you look on events in your life and we reflect back on something that in a moment maybe seemed kind of tragic, we still seem to find the good in it, don't we? If you don't find the good in it, you're really going to wallow in some of that worry, maybe for your entire life. And I don't think that's what's intended for our divine nature. All things work towards a greater good because life itself is good. What a perfect idea, what a perfect image, and what a powerful, powerful use of imagination. My grandson Max recently fell and he fractured his arm, and he's now wearing a cast for 4 weeks. I saw him on Wednesday, and you wouldn't even know anything happened to him. He's running around playing through the house, happy as galore, and not even upset about it. He didn't want to tell me about it, actually. He just wanted to be a kid and play. His mother, on the other hand, had quite a different approach to it, was very concerned. He fell in a, you know, the jumpers that they have at the park, or at birthdays sometimes, those big jumper houses. And he says, how did he fracture his arm in there? The thing's completely padded. And he says, oh, well, a bigger kid came in there, and when Max fell down, the larger child, who weighed a good, 40, 50 pounds more than Max, fell on his arm and fractured it. And he has a cast from literally the wrist all the way up to his shoulder. And he doesn't want anybody to sign it. I found that very interesting. So as I'm thinking about that, I thought, okay, so this happened. We all have incidents in our life. And now the cast will come off, and Max will be fine, and he'll get invited to another birthday party. And maybe that birthday party has a jumper again. So put yourself in his shoes. He's 6 years old. He's going to a birthday party, and he's looking at that jumper. Wow. He's looking at the jumper. He's looking at Mom. Mom's going, oh, come over here, stay close. He's looking at the jumper, and he's looking at Mom. What do you think's going on in his head? If he uses his power of imagination and just allows himself to be the wonderful being that he is, he'll go in there and he'll jump and have fun. But our human nature is different, isn't it? So I wonder what he would do. What would you do?
Avoid the big kids.
Yeah.
Avoid the big kid. Yeah, go in the jumper if there's no big kids in there, right? I think that's a good idea. And then jump like crazy. Yeah. So I thought about how malleable our minds are, so easily influenced are our thoughts and our mind. And I know I mentioned it a couple Sundays ago, I think, when we had a small group circle here, that our thoughts are the only thing we actually have control over. So if our minds are soft and malleable, just be aware of that. You get to choose the thoughts you have, and through that, the feelings and the reactions that come about. I have a few quotes here. Einstein, imagination is everything. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. And I think another one that he also said, Einstein also said, is imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. And Charles Fillmore's quote is, imagination is inherent in every person, begins as a divine spark. Imagination. I wrote at the top of my paper as something to just keep asking of it, is it possible? In our daily lives, as we go about doing things and we're thinking and we're getting these wonderful divine downloads, does that question ever come up, is it possible? How does that feel when you say to yourself, is it possible? It's pretty empowering, isn't it? It's pretty creative. If that's the right use of our imagination. Imagination is it's here between the eyes, is where Charles Fillmore put it, and for a rightful reason, that it's right between our eyes, our power of imagination, often in that same space as the third eye, but maybe a little bit behind it, because it's what we can see beyond the human vision. And we know as we look in our world that imagination, as beautiful and divine as it is, can have a downside. And that downside to it is worry. So when you're worrying, you're just misusing your power of imagination. Give it a break. Take a breath. close your eyes and go, not today. Because that power of imagination is here to help you see the good, believe in the good, look for the good. It's everything that has ever been created around us came through that power of imagination. And I know I have met people that tell me I don't have imagination. Well, maybe the other day when I went out to a home consultation and my customer comes out and in a little tiny patio with a couple little planters, and he comes out with a clipboard and a measuring tape and like looks at me like, well, you're going to draw it all out to scale, aren't you? And I said to him, no, I'm not going to draw it all out to scale for you. He says, well, why not? How are you going to know where the plants are going to go? And I said, well, sir, I've been doing this for 30 years and I can pretty much do it with my eyes closed. And he just kind of scratched his head and looked at me like, no power of imagination. He definitely, I think, was an engineer. And wanted everything in place, right? But I did wind up drawing him out something, and then the day we were installing, he was actually counting plants and looking like, I was waiting for him to tell me it needs to go over 2 more inches here and 3 more inches there. But he allowed me to just put everything out and do my work, and these little planters turned out very beautiful. So this power center that we have of imagination is really where it's where we get the ability to believe, where we sense or know that there can be peace in the world, right? The misuse of imagination may have created some of the discord. But here, because we know we're divine, we know we have an energy about us, we know that our energy goes out into the world around us, we can use our power of imagination to bring in the light, to bring in the love, and to expect peace around the world. And I think that's a beautiful use of imagination. I'll share with you real quick, when I was back at Unity, I wasn't back at Unity Village, I was up in like San Francisco at a week-long kind of like a training thing, and I took the 12 Power course, and during that 12 Power course, they gave us each, we got to pick a power that we were going to get up and speak on, and most of us had never spoken in public before. I hadn't really, in front of a group of people I didn't know, and I chose the power of imagination. And I didn't quite get the clue that it was only supposed to be like a minute long. And I'm up there with a piece of newspaper, right? So imagine I have a newspaper with me, and just for a moment think about, what can you do with a newspaper?
You can make a hat.
Did somebody say something?
Yeah, you can make a hat or a paper boat.
You can make a hat or a paper boat. Did you read Curious George books?
No.
No? He made hats and paper and boats and Curious George.
In Russia, they also used to use just toilet paper back in the day.
And then I was going to say, those are the 3 things that came up first: a hat, a boat, and toilet paper. You know, but your imagination, if you really sat with it, could go and go and go with just a newspaper. Well, the long story short of that is that my teacher came up and said, you've got to finish. You've got to close your talk. And then she said, please everybody know that whoever's coming up to talk can only have a minute or 3 minutes. I got kicked off the first time I spoke. I got kicked off the platform. And so anyways, we're gonna close real quick because we are just a little shy of time. And I kind of came up with a quote of my own this morning. And so my quote is, imagination is the carousel of life that encourages one to reach for the golden ring. Anybody ever know about that? There's supposed to be a golden ring on the carousel when you go around, and you can, I never got to do that. Did anybody actually get to do that? I never saw a golden ring on a carousel. You got to do it?
Yeah.
And what happens
You
when
have
you
to
get
be
the golden
old
ring?
to remember that.
You're old enough to remember.
Oh, yeah.
What happens when you get the golden ring?
Oh, well, sometimes you get a prize.
You get a prize.
Yeah.
Like a free next ride on the carousel.
Or a stuffed animal.
A stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Whatever you
I
want.
love stuffed animals.
Yeah.
And symbolically, the ring is to complete your journey and not have to come back.
I like that. Okay, I'm gonna say that because maybe we didn't all hear it. Spiritually, the metaphysical meaning of that golden ring is you have completed your journey and you don't have to come back. So we don't have to stay on that, going around and around and around. We go on carousel. Okay, all right, I am done. Thank you so much. I love you all very much.